Right then, hello, happy Christmas to everyone. This is Boxing Day, and I thought I'd do another live. Well, it's not a live. I thought I'd do another recording. Yeah, so this one, I think the title I'm going to go for is freestyle. So like freedom and then my style type of carry on to go with the unlabeled. Yeah, I've been working on a few guests and things, so that's exciting. So I've got an expert on alternative Welsh history who's going to be coming and getting interviewed once I work out the questions, and then they're going to come and help us out with that. I'm trying to do this today without any glasses, so the camera is pretty blurred from what I can see here, but you know, it should be okay. I had a wonderful day yesterday, blessed and grateful. Lost a couple of games of chess in the morning. Had some nice walks yesterday. Went for my first run in a long time, and I'm paying the price today. Trust me, my quads are like, they do not want to do much today, I say. So it just goes to show, you know, when you let your running go, you're gonna deal with it. And then I've got climbing tomorrow morning, so on the wall, so that will probably be slightly testing, but there we are, you know. So I'm not really gonna have a format today. This is more of a freestyle, where I'm just gonna talk about Mon Naturals, really, or the entity that was Mon Naturals, and still an entity will always be in it, but the reasons why I've had to cut back from Mon Naturals and what I'm going to be doing. So I'm not going to try and keep this too long. But I do have shareholders in Mon Naturals. I do have silent partners and things like this. So what I would like to do is just, I have spoken to the majority of them and they know the situation. But I think it's best as well that I just take this opportunity now while the channel is still growing and I haven't really got a lot of different I want to get my personal things out of the way as well, and this type of thing doesn't really need a script. It is what it is. When we get more into the interviews, then obviously we'll have some sort of we'll make sure that we validate everything that we say, so that we're correct when we're dealing with certain topics. Okay, so Mon Naturals. So I started Mon Naturals in 2016 to facilitate a project with Bangor University, Welsh Government. It was under the Smart Expertise. We were given £44,000. I originally was doing history, archaeology and journalism, and then because I then had to, there was no, because I was commercialising a 300-year-old cream that's passed down through my family, there was no written record of it, so there's no lit review or anything. So basically myself, Dr. Charlton and Dr. Baker from Bangor University, so I was working with the Biocomposites Beacon Project, Welsh Gov, and then our funding, so it's a Smart Expertise. So basically it was a microbial screening of the original of the cream. So just to have a look at the antibacterial qualities of it, testing it on MRSA and other types of bacteria, where you put it on a little petri dish and and then you see how everything works. Now, I had to do a thesis on this. I think it was about 25,000 words or something. I haven't done before. So looking into blue heather slate. So I was working with, unfortunately I work with the business development guy from Welsh Slate, who's John, lovely guy, sharing data with Welsh Slate so that we were then getting all the information off them, what had been used for previously, and then obviously doing my own research, and then obviously the academics at Bangor University also doing a little review, seeing if there was anything at all on the net, and then obviously they've got they can get into archives that I can't, and have a look and see if there's any stuff in there that's relevant to what we're doing. So obviously, from what we gather, my family is the first to find medical use for slate, which is huge, really, isn't it? Especially as it helps with healing and stuff. Now, I'll go into that a little bit later, but the thesis was done, and so I had to study a lot of different subjects to do that thesis. Honestly, now from subatomic all the way to cellular, physics, chemistry, biology, looking into metallurgy, geography, you name it, really, because because of what slate is, where it's found. Obviously, there were slate quarries on Anglesey which were closed, smaller ones, but we know where they are. So obviously people in Anglesey would have had access to slate locally, and then we use animal oil as well, which is from the pig, which is revered by the Celts, and they wouldn't waste any part of it. So you can understand really why this ancient cream has lasted so long, and why it's so effective when it comes to burns and wounds, because the slate has a cooling influence on burns. So anyone that's used it will realise that within no time, really, that stingy, horrible pain of a burn is neutralised by the slate. Now, you can imagine if that was an A&E and someone came in with a serious burn from an accident in a car or something, you can imagine the godsend that would be to just cover the whole body or the face in that LAON matrix, So I did the thesis, and then we did a 9 months antimicrobial test on that. Then it still hasn't been published, which is very unusual for research, because usually within the research finished, it gets published in a peer review. It gets peer reviewed and it gets published in an academic journal. That still hasn't happened. I spoke to Dr. Baker not long ago. He still wants to get it done, so do I. I'm a co-author. Our findings on slate are unique and the first of its kind, and it would be good to sort of validate the cream. Why the journals won't publish it, I don't know. I'm sure Dr. Charlton has tried a couple of them by now. We'll see how that goes. It's a shame, because usually when we do these academic projects, then they are published quite quickly. Now, Mon Naturals, so basically what I realised was early on, because my background's engineering and the military, what I realised was that the health sector is a different ball game altogether. So what you think they would embrace, normally if you're in an engineering background or a military, if a new idea comes up, or a new product, or a new weapon, or some new technology, it would be embraced, because it's going to enhance what you're trying to do. It's going to help you, isn't it? Unfortunately, in the health sector, it doesn't work like that, because there is it's heavily based on pharmaceuticals these days. So the natural way of doing things now has been called alternative, where really it was the original. Pharmaceuticals have only been here about 150 years, so they're really the alternative. They're the new thing. So prior to that, it was all natural healing. It was all food and herbs and spices and natural chemical compounds, you know what I mean? Which work with the homeostasis of the body. In other words, they work with the body. So the minerals in the body are the same minerals in the food. So if you're short on zinc, then you eat food with zinc in it, it's going to top your levels of zinc. Okay, and sometimes the recommended daily amount is not enough because you're too low, so you need a larger amount to get that up. Okay, so I'm not going to deviate too much. We'll do health and stuff again. Okay, so Mon Naturals, really, I got to the point where I've got 2 creams. So the original cream, when I was going into meetings, when I was in the university, I was going and having meetings with doctors from different departments. Now, some of them didn't really like the what I was bringing to the table, because obviously it's in folklore, it's in local history. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people have used it, and you know, so anyone that looks into it at all will realise this thing has been here a long time. Now their argument is, well, we don't know anything about it, and you know, it's an old wife's tale, it's you know, charlatan type scenario, you know, whatever, you know, way of dismissing it, because people get afraid of things they don't understand, aren't they? And then obviously these people have spent a lot of time getting educated, and then you're hitting them with something that probably starts dismantling that sort of mindset of what they've been taught, yeah, instead of embracing it. But again, it's not the people's fault. The system has created these divisions, and then it's really difficult when you bring something natural out, especially when people like the Rockefeller family and the DuPonts and people like this, large people who were probably involved in the petrochemical or in the oil sort of fields, they realised that they had a waste product after refining the crude oil into like petrol or diesel. I'm not an expert on that side of things, I have no interest in it. But basically the waste then got used for pharmaceuticals because they had all that waste. So really the pharmaceutical industry is predominantly petrochemical, so it's a synthetic chemical compounds rather than natural chemical compounds. So they're all liver toxic. All drugs are liver toxic. Okay, there are ways of switching off receptors and things and that, but eventually the body will find out or work it out, or you'll have a detrimental some sort of effect. That's why synthetic drugs only work for so long, and then you've got to change it and give them something else and you know. But I think personally there's room for both, okay, because what the pharmaceuticals brings to the table in emergencies is brilliant, isn't it? You know, you in an emergency you do whatever to heal the person or to keep them alive or to deal with whatever injury. Yeah. So there is a place, but obviously I'm an advocate for natural healing, so I believe that if you are healthy and you're looking after yourself, your diet, sunshine, walking, fitness, and you're eating the right food, then that's like preventative medicine, isn't it? And then you've got something which is functional medicine. So you know, we know now that certain herbs, certain roots, certain flowers, certain leaves, you know, when they're used a certain way, or they're extracted or they're mixed, they have beneficial effects for us, okay? And then, so all you've got to do is look at what other countries doing it. For example, you look at Ayurvedic medicine, which is thousands of years old in India. You know, they don't give, I'll give an example, they don't give HRT synthetic drugs to a woman who's going on menopause, for example. They'll give ashwagandha, which is a root, and that sorts the hormones out, so they do it naturally. And then they've got thousands and thousands of herbs, so they can mix them, they can give you an alternative, they work with you on that level. The same with Chinese medicine, you know. They look again at the meridian points, so they're looking at it on an energy level as well, not just on the physical, but the energy of the body as well, or something called chi, or these are the subtle energies that we have inside our body. So when I finished doing the antimicrobial screening, I soon realised that there was a lot of scepticism towards the animal oil in the cream. Now, I was offered a large amount of money to put a synthetic alternative in the cream, the Eliawa, the original one, the ancient one, instead of the pig fat. Now, I understand why you would not want to use pig fat these days. I get it, okay. But at the end of the day, the product works, so, and it has lasted the test of time. So, and our ancestors weren't stupid, okay. They knew that these things work, and that's why they used them. So I do know that things have changed. So what I decided to do was to have an alternative. So what I did was I turned down the large offer, and I mean large. Now, if they'd have offered me to buy the whole company outright, fair enough, I would have probably sold it and then used the money to do something else good, you know what I mean? But they just wanted a percentage of it, and unfortunately, if things would have gone tits up with the product, because then you've got a different product that's not tested, we don't know what the synthetic alternative in the cream is going to do when you mix it with the slate, and how that's going to be on the skin, the long-term effects, you know what I mean? Then all of a sudden, then you don't know what you're doing, do you? You know what I mean? So you only need to mess up with one person, you get sued, and you're in trouble. And we're here to help people, and we're not here to rip people off, and we don't want to make people ill, you know. That's the last thing I want to do. So I turned that down. So what I did was I went away for 18 months and I studied compounds, and I decided that I was going to do it with natural chemical compounds, not synthetic. So I was told this was impossible to match it, you know, near enough the same capabilities on a molecular level, whatever. And yeah, I proved them wrong. Simple as that, you know. I was guided, I was helped, you know, ideas came to me, you know, them eureka moments, light bulb moments, where an idea comes and you think, okay, you know what I mean? And yeah, so I based it on fatty acid index of baby milk. And you might think, what? You know what I mean? But that's what came to me, and you know what? It worked. It worked because I kept a certain ratio, and I just needed to find the right natural compounds to basically match the ratio. So when you've got something, a base to it, so what I did was I reversed engineered the animal fat. So I broke the animal fat down, I worked out how it worked, and then I knew then what I needed to find in the plant kingdom then, and that's what I did. And that started my, you know, how I got into CBD and hemp as well, because both of them play a big part in the cream as well, you know. So yeah, we've won awards now for the international and national awards for business, manufacturing and innovation. So, you know, what I've done with Mon Naturals is absolutely amazing, really, considering that I'd never have ever had big the funding. You know, I've got to be. I'm not going to mention the people who have helped me out and given me money and you know, bought shares or given me silent funding, because you know they know who they are, and I'm extremely grateful to each one of them for having that faith in me. You know, we might not always agree on the finer points of things, and that's cool because the health industry is unique. It's not like any other industry because of the corruption there. It's probably the corruptest next to the military complex type industry. You know, there's an adage in there, you know, you don't make money from healing people, which is fucking ridiculous. To be honest with you, we make enough money in society on other things. Why do we need to make money off people being sick? If you really think about it, can we not offset profits from all over the place and just put money in to allow, why we've got to make money off people? You know what I mean? I'm glad that our NHS is free, and it should stay free as well, you know. It should stay free, because it's ridiculous why people have to pay for that when you're making so much money in other industries. You know, and people should be told the truth about health and how to heal and how the body works and stuff. You know, we don't get taught a lot about frequencies or lights and all these alternative things that we really should be. It should be available to us, really, especially this time now, it's like going into 2025. You know. So obviously, how much are we on? We're on 20 minutes. So obviously, it's been a challenge with Mon Naturals. So lately, what I was finding was I started doing the market, and initially I would just do that as a little hobby on a Friday where I would be able to give, because what I was finding was people were coming to me with psoriasis, for example, and then L-Ianide works really well on psoriasis. So one of them works well on wounds, burns, eczema, face masks, that type of thing, and then the other one is an all-rounder, and people will probably watch this who have used it. So it is what it is. Everyone knows what L-Ianide does. Okay, it also gives pain relief, or localized pain relief. I've got people that have got sciatica using it. Okay, so what I did was, what the really key element was when I reverse engineered the L-Ianide, was I managed to mimic the anti-inflammatory capabilities of the animal fat. Now, Madrid University's ecumenic team, I've got the published article, they've proved that. So I mimicked that, and because I got the compounds all right, and the mixture and everything, it's anti-inflammatory. So not only does it sort of help with psoriasis, it's anti-inflammation as well. So it helps with pain relief. So when I was at the market, what people were coming to me and they had psoriasis all over them, or the kids or whatever. So obviously, even though I'm giving discount, it's like the pots are not enough, are they? Can you imagine if you've got psoriasis all over your body? One pot is going to last you 2 days, and then I'm charging people 20 quid, and that it's like, wow. And some people are low income, and you what? So I end up giving them for free then, you know. But then I've got to make some money as well. So it's like a catch-22. So the market was a place really where I could give discount to people rather than the full price on the website. So as things went on, people would say, "Oh, Ianto, have you got anything for this? Have you got anything for that? Can you help me with sleep? Can you help me with this? Have you got some supplements? Have you got, you know?" So then I started selling functional medicines that I eat, chaga, reishi, mushroom mixes, ashwagandha, Trafalgar. Then I got into all the Ayurvedic stuff and then some Chinese medicine stuff. So before you know it, I had a range of all sorts of supplements that would help with different ailments. So if someone came and said, oh, they're not sleeping, I've got a couple of sleep things I can give them and it'll help. And at the end of the day, people can come back in a week and go, well, that's not working, or that's, you know what I mean? So when I didn't get these problems, simply because I was sourcing everything from good places, yeah. You know, because I'm not here to rip people off, I'm here to help people. So this will get to my point in a minute. So in say around lockdown, a thing came out called the Novel Food Act. Now the Novel Food Act was brought out to control CBD, to monopolise it really. Now I do understand that a government needs to have guidelines and quality assurance on products, because there are cowboys out there who will say you know, it's something when it's not. I get it, but the Novel Food Act is like 350 grand or something, you know. So small businesses, just whether you've got a good product or not, you can't pay the testing and stuff, you know. So you can partner up with someone who's got a novel food, or you can like piggyback. So for example, when I get my CBD, they've got a novel food license, so they're a partner. But unfortunately, for some reason, that didn't go through properly for me. But the Home Office was sort of all right, because they knew that I'd been getting it off that company for like 3 years prior to the novel food. Plus I had cosmetic compliance certificate for CBD and THC, the first company in the world to do that. Now, the Novel Food Act put out about 800 companies in the first wave, about 600 companies in the second wave, and then the third wave, which is just to hit me now. Well, I don't know if it was a wave more. Well, I think they just targeted my company, to be honest with you. And so many people that I know who have really top quality CBD, things like the Sacred Oil, and I mean, who'd created their own flavors, and these were like experts, you know what I mean, really, really clever guys at extraction, and trying to extract in an ethical way some cold crash, some water, not always with CO2 or ethanol extraction, which is a chemical basically. And trying to keep it as organic as possible if they were distilling it or whatever, you know. Now, a lot of them went out of business, their units and everything got closed down, they lost a fortune, especially the ones that had like 500, 600 grand to set them up and that, you know. Now, I had a unit in Manor Bridge not long ago, and I was working with a team of people. One of them was a master herbalist, and he helps people who got cancer. So what he found was that the ivermectin that he was using had heavy metals and binders and fillers and preservatives and stuff in it. Okay, so it was liver toxic. So if you're helping someone with cancer, if you're giving them a package of products, you need to make sure that none of them have any side effects and stuff, because it's going to be detrimental to what you're trying to do, isn't it? Do you get me? So what he decided was, originally the bacteria they found in the soil in Japan, that was the ivermectin, but then whatever happened then, so he created his own. So he went out to find a herb that could match, a bit like I did, and reverse engineer what the ivermectin did. So he decided to use the neem leaf. Now there are things about neem. Neem's been out for a long time. It's an Ayurvedic herb. It helps about 40 different things, and it has been available in the UK for a long time. Certain parts of it they say is toxic, but the leaf isn't, and that leaf is what we were using. Now, what was making this unique was how pure it was, because we were only using vegetable glycerine and water for the extraction, And at the end of the day, it was a natural extraction, and it took, say, 4 days. There was a drying period. There was a. I'm not going to go into the formulation and how he does it as his business, but it's all natural and it was really good. So we started selling this alternative, and we were getting huge results on it, on loads of different things. And then obviously some papers came out saying that it's the one actually that Joe Rogan and Trump mentioned during lockdown that would help with COVID, and it is antiparasitical, and it's antiviral as well. So yeah, it's a good one to boost you up. So we had this liquid ivermectin and ivermectin, we called it. So it was a liquid version of it, and it was completely organic. This then brought too much attention from whoever, and all of a sudden things started getting a bit awkward for me, because I was the one really that was coordinating it in one sense, and the one who was trying to set up a unit to bottle it, because we had some really big orders come in. We had funding from the US, and we had some big orders from the US and from India and places. So we needed a unit really we bought a machine, and we, had the unit in Menor Bridge. We set it up, spent quite a lot of money doing it up and getting it up to food regs. And then all of a sudden I got a phone call saying that we had to, we weren't allowed, the only way we were allowed to open it is if I had another food license. Well, I'm not the manufacturer, I'm just the guy who bottles it and puts it on a pallet and sends it out. So I'm not manufacturing it. So obviously I had to speak to the herbalist, and then he was not prepared to pay that amount of money, because in England or he isn't under that Novel Food Act, but for some reason in Wales that was put on me. So that meant that I couldn't then bottle the oil in Wales, which is disappointing really, because it would have brought a lot of work to people here and we could have grown it and stuff, but it is what it is. So then I had a large amount of the oil in my flat, and then I was threatened then with getting it confiscated, and we'd already lost money on the unit, and it wouldn't have been fair to my partners or the investors really to lose more things, because I felt a little bit it was me that pushed really to get it in Wales, just trying to get things here, so that there's more work for people. But we are slightly backward in Wales when it comes to innovations, and we're too risk adverse, and I don't know, I think when it comes to alternative healing and medicines and hemp and stuff like this, I think the Welsh government really needs to start waking up and smelling the coffee, because the countries have been doing this a while now, man, and everyone knows what's going on and how much money you can make from these things, and it would help the GDP, and it would just create jobs, apprenticeships, entrepreneurs. These things would really help, and it would cut the cost of the NHS as well, if you were allowed to bring class 1 medical devices in, i.e. hemp-based plasters, and we're interested in things with natural products inside it, and these are all innovations, and Wales would be like really up there then with designing things and innovating things through hemp or through alternative things. So I then suffered some weird personal circumstances, then getting arrested and stuff, I guess, and some charges trying to get put on me, which didn't work because I'm not a drug dealer. I don't sell weed. I don't smoke weed. The weed that they found in my car was not my weed, and so you know, weird circumstances all at once. It was like 2 months out of hell, really. Having to deal with a lot of bureaucracy and a lot of crap, really. When all you're trying to do is help people with their fucking health, okay? And that's why I say that this sector is fucked up, because the health sector is fucked up. It's not actually there. Parts of it is not there to help people. You know what I mean? I've got a lot of times for nurses and doctors because I don't think they know the full picture. They don't know the full agenda or the narrative. And I don't know why the pharmaceutical industry has so much power when it comes to health. And natural healing and natural products should be a part of treatments and should be available just as easily as pharmaceuticals are, because it's been there a long time and the pharmaceuticals haven't. So when a doctor says to me, you know, I've spoke at the Senate, I've spoken in front of an audience many times about natural healing, and you know, I am an advocate for it, and I do believe that, you know, when doctors say to me, oh, we don't know much about turmeric. What do you mean you don't know about fucking turmeric? Turmeric's been going for thousands of years. You know, get educated, come out of the little bubble of chemicals and pharmaceuticals and look and broaden your knowledge. You know, you can't just diminish comfrey or rosemary or ashwagandha or chaga or reishi. You can't just say that all these are just crap and well, I don't know what they do. I don't know what they are. What's this? What do you mean? What's this? It works. Okay, the mentality is crazy when you talk to some people. They're so enwrapped in what they do. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want any new information. They don't want that data because it's an overload. Their system can't deal with that type of information that goes against sometimes what they've been taught. Okay, they can't correlate and realize that what in food and herbs and stuff, look at the compounds in these things. We are made of the same minerals. We've got, I don't know, 108 minerals in our body. Now, for example, if we took Irish sea moss and bladderwrack every day, that's all your minerals in one go. It's all your minerals in one go, taking two things, Irish sea moss and bladderwrack. Okay, then you might say to yourself, well, what about my vitamins and stuff? Well, are they bioavailable? Because we've got stomach acids, haven't we? Everything's made in the gut, the majority of it. Enzymes, coenzymes, proteins. And it breaks everything down. So once it's broken, that vitamin tablet, what's left? Is it able to take it up? Now there's a matrix, isn't there? Vitamin A, vitamin D, and K2, or vitamin K. Right? You need them to be able to absorb minerals. So it doesn't matter how many minerals you absorb. If you haven't got a certain vitamins in your body working correctly, you're not going to absorb it and take it in. Okay, so again, I'm not going to, you can, everything I say, you can basically go and check it, can't you know? So that's where I'm at with Mon Naturals now. Mon Naturals have been tainted slightly by the system because the system doesn't like Mon Naturals. Because Mon Naturals is all about helping people ethically and morally. Mon Naturals will give products for free. Okay, another thing, they got me in the council offices in Gwynedd Council, an enforcement public protection officer, public protection officer, and someone from trading standards, and they were saying, oh, you help people with cancer, and then they quoted the 1939 Act, which is if you help anyone with cancer, you can be put in jail. Which is just fucking what? It's just fucking bizarre, do you know what I mean? It's another element of the health industry that's just bonkers. Bonkers. So if you can be put in jail, think about it for a second now. You can be put in jail for helping someone with cancer. How fucking mad is that? Do you know what I mean? So you got to think now. I'm on my, would have been on my market stall on a Friday. Someone comes over and goes, oh, they might not tell me what their symptom is, and they're asking me advice in a roundabout way, and I'm giving them advice. I'm giving them products. What's that? It's a grey area. So it's a grey area, isn't it? Because they haven't told me what's wrong with them, but they might do after I've told them. They might say, well, actually, I think I've got cancer, or I'm on the back end of it, or I've just come off chemo, or... And then you're like, but it doesn't matter, I still help either way. And loads of people come and ask me and talk to me and stuff like that, because more and more people since lockdown are looking for alternative options to things. They want less chemicals in their body. They're looking at their food, less chemicals in the food, because they know that all these chemicals are no good for us. Okay, and I will always promote natural healing on that level: functional medicine, preventative medicine, nutritional therapy. Okay, there's loads of things on nutritional therapy, juicing, smoothies, when you're ill, getting these things down, you know what I mean? So anyway, we're on 40 minutes now. I don't want to be too long on this, even though it's an important video, you know what I mean? This is important because people are wondering what's going on with Mon Naturals. You're knocking it on the head and asking me all these questions, and people are well aware of it, but at the end of the day it's tainted. So what I've done is I've created Ianto Jones Innovations. That way then the work I do with Pop Cymru, the work I do with Hub Chemist, the work I do with Hemp Alliance Cymru, all can come under one umbrella. And then Eliawen at the end of the day is the original cream that started everything off when I was in uni. So it's just going to be Eliawen skincare, and then Elianide, which is the vegan plant-based alternative, reverse engineered, will come under that. So it'll be Eliawen skincare range. And then because I can't afford a novel food license, so I won't be selling no supplements, and I can't be bothered with all the hassle anymore, because I've put up with that for 12 years and it's nonsensical and I can't be doing with it. And everyone by now knows what them creams do, even though I'm not allowed to have any medical claims. That's another thing that they want to shut me down for, is because when people put posts up and I share research that says rosemary does this and it's a peer reviewed, and which is what they want, but because it's me sharing it, it's like, oh no, I'm not allowed to talk about cancer cures or things, brush with berry and basinol. I'm not allowed to talk about things, an alkaline diet. You know what I mean? These on social media or on anything. And another thing as well, big thank you to YouTube. You got to remember, you're not dealing with someone normal, you're dealing with someone who sees everything, and you've already taken half my views down. My first video on my new channel, he's already taken half my views down. Okay, so I hope you're happy with that. Right? You'll say, oh, it could be the algorithm, the bots or whatever. No, someone's still programming it, isn't it? Okay, but you've got to do, whoever I'm talking to now, you're fucking programmed yourself, aren't you? Following orders, being stupid, picking on little fucking channels. In your first fucking video, take half my views off. know what I mean? That's censorship for you. Censorship. Right, and that's going to come to an end, censorship, if it is, because it's wrong. It really is wrong. All right, you don't censor all the fucking bad things, do you? You know, all the people who talk the narrative or the agenda. Oh, happy days, isn't it? You know, let's boost them up so they've got millions of views. And then the ones who are talking the truth, no, let's, like, we don't like that. No, because you don't like truth, do you? Right? But as we move into a new earth, you can't create a new earth on a foundation or having building blocks of fucking lies, can you? What's that about? You know, I mean, it's got to be truth. Truth is the way forward, absolute truth, and that's what will happen. So, yes, I hope that you now might understand a little bit why I've decided to just, you know, Mon Naturals, it was a stepping stone. It served its purpose. I've enjoyed it. You know, it's brought me to this point here now. Now I'm looking forward to Ianto Jones Innovations. So Mon Naturals will be switching over. Obviously, how social media is, I can't just get all the data, everything off one and just go plonk onto another, which just won't allow me. So I'll probably try and fizzle things across. I'll probably keep the pages open. They'll become less active as time goes. My website, I can't get access to it at the moment, so there's no one buying on it anyway. So and they've made me take down my family history as well, because my family history is actually a medical fucking claim. Can you believe that? So me talking about my grandmother using it or my mum using it or my dad is a medical claim, okay? And I've got that on email. All these things are on email. So you see, I can't even talk about my family history on my website without them having a go at me for medical claims. And this is the MRJ and trading standards. Okay, so yeah. So from now on, it's Ianto Jones Innovations, and obviously I've got this YouTube channel now, and then we're going to have some really interesting guests on who are really going to smash truth out on all subjects. We're just going to go for it. We're in a battle here, aren't we? Spiritually, whatever, we're in a battle for truth, and truth will win, you know, because truth is love and love is truth. You know, it's wicked to just fucking lie all the time and want to make people ill and to continue that cycle of making people ill. It's completely wrong and unethical. It really is. It really is. And it's been shocking for me to come into the health sector, really, and to see firsthand how it's accepted, how so many clever academics just accept everything and will just don't tolerate alternatives. But you know, some of them, to be fair, will privately, because I guarantee you 100% that the majority of them academics do not eat shit food themselves. I guarantee you them and their families don't eat chemical-based foods, synthetic chemical-based foods all the time. They're not in McDonald's every minute. They're not in whatever every minute, yeah. Eating GMO foods, genetically modified. I guarantee you they don't. Okay, I guarantee you they are healthy and they wouldn't prescribe the same shit to themselves or their families that they do to you. Okay, so big thank you to everyone who supported Mon Naturals. You know, I've helped thousands and thousands of people with Mon Naturals, and the supplements helped a lot of people as well, and all the other things I was selling, the gummies and stuff, you know. But unfortunately now we've got to just drop down to the creams. They won't allow me to piggyback. I was using JM Wholesale, who have these certificates, and I know I just used to use a white label, so you get it, you don't alter it, and you just put it in your packaging. It's what they call white label, fully legal, but that's not allowed now either. And I can't be bothered with them, you know. They're just making things too hard for me and too expensive. So, time to move on now, and the battle will never cease. Truth will always be my goal on whatever I do, whether it's working. You know, I've been offered to go and speak in front of a lot of people, important people abroad. I'm going to keep some things to myself, but I have been offered to go and speak on how hemp can change the world, basically. I have tried with the Welsh Government. I've offered to go to the Senedd and do presentations for them. I've spoken to political parties here in Wales, including Plaid Cymru, and offered to help them with post-Brexit an alternative crop for the farmers after the subsidies close, but they're not interested. You see, the problem is with them, this is what I find with all political parties. If you start talking about cancer, alternative treatments, or hemp, or cannabis oil, or anything else, hemp, CBD, anything like this, they don't want to know. That's where you see their true colours, yeah? They say they're all about truth, and they're interested in anything that's for the people. Well, if you're into things for the people, then it means that everything's on the table. If you want to talk about climate change with me, hemp should be the number one, or one of the main things that you're talking about. Because if you're talking about climate change and you're not bringing up hemp, it means you're undereducated in climate change, or you don't understand hemp, or a bit of both. You know, there's no point pulling punches anymore now. You know, this is how it is. This is the truth, okay? If you're saying that you're a political party of the people and you're ignoring hemp and alternative medicines for cancer and health, they're the things that will make more money for the people and make them independent and sustainable, and it will also make them healthy. So there's two big things there that you're stopping the people from having. Do you get me? Two big things there. And I'll take any politician on, any one of them, any meeting you want. You can even bring a big group of you if you want. I'll still. Truth is the truth. Truth is always the truth. And when truth stands up for itself, it's lies that has no foundation and it has nothing to base on. You know, truth will always be the truth, and that is the truth. Everyone knows the impact of hemp. That's why it's restricted. You know. But anyway, right then. Well, thank you for listening, and this is my second video, and I hope you've enjoyed, you know, me giving you a rundown. I feel as if I needed to explain. So many people asking me about Mon Naturals. And we are going to have a lot of light-hearted stuff. This is just me getting a few things out of the way with now before the interviews. It's Christmas, so and I need to get formats in place for the interviews and questions and what have you. So it's really important, and we're just under an hour, so wishing you all best wishes for the rest of the festive season. I will be doing I'll do another one next week before the new year, so you know, I'll get to speak to them before then. Yeah, so as normal, peace out and namaste.